All right, guys, the wedding at Canaan. It comes from John 2, verses 1 through 11. Here we have a picture of what a wedding festival might have looked like in those days. We got this tent in the background, all the people enjoying it. Here are these huge jars. Notice the 6 of them. And then the smaller jars, these would be the ones that they walk to and from the well to get the water. They're bringing it to this. And this is where the servants would be washing people's feet as they came in to the wedding banquet. And it's kind of nice if you look closely here. Here a servant has got the little ladle, and you can see that the color of it is a little bit like the color of wine, maybe a red or a purple kind of color. So the picture illustrator is trying to show all that. And now in the background, this is where you would probably see, hey, here's Mary, or maybe this is the bridegroom and the bride, and that's the guy who's in charge of it, talking about how great the wine is. So the guy tried to fit everything into one picture. Let's read. You guys use your pointing fingers. Read along with me as I read aloud. Soon after he was baptized, Jesus chose his first disciples, and they began to travel with him. One day, Jesus and his disciples went to the wedding in the town of Canaan in Galilee. Jesus' mother Mary was at the wedding too. During the wedding celebration, which lasted for several days, people who were giving the wedding feast ran out of wine. Mary found out about it, and she came to Jesus and said, "They are out of wine." Jesus said to her, "Dear woman, why are you telling me? It isn't time for me to help yet. Not my time yet." Jesus trusted that Jesus would help in any way that was best, so she told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you to do." Now there were 6 huge water jars made of stone standing nearby. Each of the jars could hold 20 to 30 gallons of water. The Jewish people kept the jar of water handy so that people could wash their hands and dishes before they ate. They also used the water to wash the dust off the feet of their guests as soon as they came into the house. After a while, Jesus told the servants, "Fill the jars with water." And they did just that. They filled them to the brim. Then Jesus said, "Now, dip some water out and take it to the man who is in charge of the wedding feast and let him taste it." The servants did what Jesus told them, and the man in charge tasted the water, but it was no longer water. Jesus had turned the water into wine. The servants who had filled the jars with water realized what Jesus had done, but the man in charge of the feast didn't know. So after tasting wine, he quietly said to the bridegroom, "Most people bring out the most expensive wine first and use the cheaper wine later on, but you have saved the best until now." I like to say the best for last. This miracle was the first of many Jesus did to show his power and glory, to show that he is the Son of God who was sent into the world as the Savior. When the disciples saw this miracle, they believed him even more strongly that Jesus was the Son of God. Pretty cool lesson. Key takeaways for us is, hey, Jesus is capable of providing for our earthly needs. Now, I know our parents work and they have jobs and they get money and they go to the store and they buy us things and make sure we have food and pay the bills. But Jesus, in all reality, had given them the abilities to do that work. Jesus, in all reality, had given the employees the money to hire them or to pay for their work. And now your parents can use this to help us. So Jesus provides all of those things for us. He provides for our earthly needs, just like he provided for the earthly needs of all the people at the wedding feast. Guys, today we have a little worksheet today. And I thought this one was a little bit harder than I'd like it to be this early in the year. So I'm going to do part of it with you. Okay? So let's start with our names. Notice it's a Tuesday. It goes back in the Tuesday packet. Notice it's the first sheet in your Tuesday packet. All right. Our assignment says, place the events of this lesson in order by numbering the jars next to the sentence from 1 to 10. The first one's known to you. So I don't know why they started with a 5. You should go read through them and find the thing that happened first. Now, I was kind of underlining key important details during the lesson. And so I think one of the first things that happened, see how I go back to the lesson to find my answers. One of the first things that happened was Jesus picked some of his disciples, and they went to this wedding. So let's see if we can find any that say that. Okay? Mary told the servant to follow Jesus' directions. The disciples believed more strongly. Now, I'm going to put that one at the end. That's the end. I'm going to write myself little notes here. The wine at the wedding was gone. I think that's the beginning. Mary turned to Jesus for help. The servants realized that Jesus had changed the water into wine. That's the middle. Jesus told the servant to fill the stone jars. That happened kind of in the middle. The man in charge of the feast of the bridegroom saved the best for last. That's kind of at the end. Mary noticed the wine was gone. Jesus told the servants to draw from the jars. I think that's the middle. Jesus told Mary that it wasn't his time. All right, the beginning. So nowhere did it say that they were going to this wedding, okay? So what happened after they went to the wedding? Came Jesus' mother Mary was there. During the wedding celebration, which lasted for several days, the people who were giving the wedding ran out of wine. Let's see if we can find one that ran out of wine. Now, I'm not going to read them all again. I'm going to go to my B's for beginning because I think that happened at the beginning. The wine at the wedding was all gone. Jeez. I wonder if that's number one. Mary turned to Jesus. No. Mary noticed the wine was gone, and Jesus told him one time. So I'm going to give this one number one. Okay? All right. So now, what happened next? Mary turned to Jesus for help, or Mary noticed the wine was gone? Well, she obviously couldn't go get help if she didn't know there was a problem. So let's make this one number 2. And then this one number 3. Okay? So we got those taken care of. Now let's move on. Our last beginning one is Jesus told Mary that it wasn't time yet. Let's see if that happens here. Jesus said to her, "Dear woman, why are you telling me it's not time for me to help yet?" Mary trusted Jesus that it would help ways best, so she told the servant. So let's go. Jesus told Mary it was not his time is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5, Mary told the servant. So far so good, because 5 was 5. Okay? That takes care of all of our beginnings. So let's think about the ones that happened in the middle of the story now. What did Jesus do next? Do whatever he tells us. Now there were 6 huge jars made of stone standing nearby. Each of these jars could hold 20 to 30 gallons. The Jews used it for washing. Okay, after a while, Jesus told the servants. Let's find the one about Jesus told us. The disciples believed him. That's the end. The servants realized that Jesus told the servants to fill the stone jars with water. There we go, 6. Now, after you got the jars full, what are you going to do? Well, I think Jesus sent it to the man in charge, right? And so let's check out that one. It says, Jesus told the servants to draw from the jars and take it to the man who was in charge of the feast. That would be our number 7. The man in charge of the feast. Notice it ends with the man in charge, starts with the man in charge. I think that's our cue. The man in charge of the feast said that the bridegroom had served the best wine for last. The servant realized that Jesus had changed it. The disciples believed. Well, this one's 8, 9, and we ended with the disciples. All right, guys. Let's check out the bottom now. It says, Jesus provided for our bodily and spiritual needs. Circle all in red the bodily needs. List below. Circle in blue the spiritual needs. What we're going to do is we're going to circle the bodily needs, and we're going to put an X by the spiritual needs. Food to eat. Is that for your body or your spirit? It's for our body. Circle that one. A strong faith. I think that one is our spiritual need. Salvation. That means going to heaven. Spiritual. Forgiveness of sins. Spiritual. Healing when sick. That's our bodily needs. And clothes to wear. Okay, you don't get to heaven with clothes to wear, so that'd be. I know we did this whole one together, and I was not that excited about this top part. Could be a little bit confusing. So, congratulations if you watched the video. You mastered your Christ life. Put it back into your folders, and let's get our A pluses.